Welcome, everybody, to the Grueling Crew CFL Pick'em Show. We're at Week 10. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster. Right now I want to welcome in my co-host. We'll start it off with four-time Grey Cup champion, Robert Drummond. How you doing, Robert?
Pretty good. How's it going? Yeah, always good to be here. You know, on this eclipse-filled day. Jeez, that's all I heard about all day long.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you had to be pretty pumped up about the eclipse, right, Robert? It was probably right up there winning the Grey Cup.
No, I had no desire to watch it at all, and I didn't.
Me neither. But who do we got next? Brian Schmidt. How you doing, Brian?
There was an eclipse today?
Did I know that? Oz loves eclipses, don't you, Oz? Davis.
Yeah, I hate to geek out on you guys, but, man, eclipse is awesome. The total eclipse is awesome when you see it. And
all right, out of the four of us on here, Robert and Brian, let's guess which one of us didn't play football. Go ahead there, nerd boy. What were you saying?
I'm just saying is all. It's just one of those things that you really should see. It's interesting because I'm going to try not to geek out too much, but I would like to get this in here. Not only is this a very rare event on Earth, this is probably a very rare event in our galaxy. This doesn't happen too often anywhere that we can think of or that we know of so far. So, you know, that's pretty heavy as far as I'm concerned. And when you see 100% eclipse, when you see totality, it's indescribable. It's awesome. It's fantastic.
Well,
okay.
I saw it in 99.
Well, I've seen the birth of both my children, so that's the most exciting thing I think I'll ever see.
Right.
Anyone so, you know,
Right.
Means
That's
nothing to me.
That's what I always compare it with.
It just gets dark, right, Oz?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Because I heard people explain it as 100% total eclipse and how the stars come out and stuff. Once again, I can see that at 9 o'clock at night.
Oh, yeah, but it's wild. It's really indescribable. It's
all right, Oz. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get on with this week's show.
Let's talk about
maybe
football.
The next time there's an eclipse, we'll do an eclipse special on the CFL Weekly show. But I don't think
7
so.
years from now.
All right, let's start off with what I thought was indescribable. The Edmonton Eskimos finally lost 33-26 to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The Blue Bombers have now won 4 straight games while snapping Edmonton's 7-game, year-long winning streak. Winnipeg never trailed in this game. Mike Riley played well to keep Edmonton in it. I think there's no doubt now, Robert, that Winnipeg is a contender.
I mean, we said that last week. I mean, Winnipeg has been playing great the last few weeks, you know, and Mike Riley did play well, and it wasn't going to happen for Edmonton. You know, they couldn't ride this train the entire way, but I think a loss for them, you know, humbles them and lets them know that they're not, undefeatable, you know, so, but it was a big step for Winnipeg, and I think Winnipeg's going to be in the Grey Cup this year. I mean, they're just playing well.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either. And Matt Nichols, Brian, 32 for 40. Almost 400 yards, 1 touchdown. Most importantly, as ever, I mean, he's very accurate, but he doesn't turn the ball over. I mean, what do you have to say about Matt Nichols? I think, like I said, we questioned him about a month ago, and ever since we brought up that question, he's made us all look bad.
Yeah, once again showing that they listened to our show and we pissed them off. We did that last year. He's playing on Monday, and I'll tell you, as I said the last couple of weeks, I'm kind of jumping on that Winnipeg bandwagon. I love watching them play. I love what they do offensively. Love watching what he does. And as I said, they listened to the show a month ago, and it pissed them off because now he's proven to be that quarterback and maybe starting to put himself in that elite status.
Yeah, and then you look, Oz, I know you'll probably want to gloat because you tried to tell us from the start of the year they were going to be this good. But the guy that's the key here to me, even more than Nichols, Andrew Harris, 11 carries, 105 yards rushing, 8 carries, 120 yards in through the air, catching the ball. I mean, 84 of those yards after catch, 15 yards in average catch. I mean, he gives them a huge weapon to go into a playoff run with.
Yeah, when they acquired him, I want to say maybe 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, when they acquired him, they imagined him to be a franchise player. And there was some scoffing because Winnipeg wasn't very good. They were still developing. And because, running game, is not so important in CFL football in the teens. But, yeah, this guy is now a franchise running back in the CFL. He's a weapon on the pass and on the run. Fantastic. Really great for the Bombers. Another great win.
All right, that brings us to the Ottawa Red Blacks.
But I did have one.
Oh, hell, I figured you'd have more to say. Go ahead, Oz. If it's about the Eclipse, I'm hanging up on you, though.
No, come on. I did have a question to ask all you guys. Okay, so I'm watching this game, and I'm watching Mike Riley play, and I'm seeing him throw a 41-yard touchdown pass to Nikhil Williams on the run while running to his right, completely effortlessly. Why is this guy not in the NFL? Any of you, please give me an answer.
Brian?
I can't give you an answer because how he's not getting a shot in the NFL is beyond me.
Robert?
I can't give you an answer either. I mean, it's just sometimes. I mean, I try to wonder what's going on in the heads of executives in the NFL office that don't give certain players in the CFL who I think are very, very talented a shot. I don't get it.
Yeah, there are at least 4 starting quarterbacks. I mean, actually, every starting quarterback in the freaking CFL, you cannot tell me couldn't at least be a backup on an NFL team. I mean, you guys got Blaine Gabbert, Blake Bortles. Yeah. You can't tell me that Blake Bortles is better than Trevor Harris or freaking Mike Riley or Bo Levi Mitchell or, hell, it's Blake Bortles, so... Even though Brian Brian's got a rag arm, I think Brian's a better quarterback than Blake Bortles.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. And I do want to bring up the fact that last year on our NFL preview show, Oz Davis predicted that Blake Bortles was going to have a breakout year last year.
Okay, jeez, that's ancient history here. In podcast land, a year ago plus is ancient history. Come on, Mike. Get over it.
Yeah, but I still like to bring it up just to,
my predictions this year are going to be amazing.
Yeah, but let's face it, the NFL is run by a bunch of dipshits anyways that are just worried about making money. I don't know why they wouldn't pick up guys like this, but I just don't know. I mean, I watched Zach Collaros is better. I mean, all these guys that are starting and half the guys that are backups are better than the guys in the NFL.
They're all better
because how many teams have a legit backup quarterback in the NFL, really? A guy that could go in and win you a big game?
Well, I can answer that question real quick. If you were to ask me and I became an executive for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who would I rather have as my backup quarterback? I mean, let's be honest. I would take Riley as the backup to Ben and the heir apparent in a heartbeat. I mean, you can sit here at some of these other NFL teams. There are guys starting in the NFL that I would take Riley over.
I'll take Riley and Mitchell for my Rams 1-2.
Yes.
They could both play for my Rams.
They could play for any team, at least as a backup, and I think half the teams at least the starter. You can't tell me that it was a Brian Hoyer, whatever the hell his name is in San Francisco, it can outplay these guys.
No.
But it's the NFL, and the NFL sucks anyway. So let's go ahead and we'll talk about Ottawa and Hamilton. And Oz, it looked like Ottawa was going to have problems here again. They didn't get in the end zone at all, only up 15-10 at a halftime. But after being held to no touchdowns and 5 field goals in the first half, Trevor Harris and the Red Blacks exploded in the second half. But it's against Hamilton. Does this really mean anything for Ottawa?
Well, yeah. See, that's the thing. That I feel like Hamilton is just not a measuring stick for any team in the CFL this season. You cannot tell what's happening with them with regard to another team. They're bringing in the relief pitcher at quarterback. That's not very, I mean, for the Tiger Cats, that's not very good. But, to go 36 of 48, 394 yards, 2 touchdowns, I mean, that's a pretty good line against anybody at any level of competition, right? You like to see for the Red Blacks how, they're building that army of wide receivers like they had last year. The Big Four had 27 of those catches for most of the yards. So you like to see what's happening in Ottawa. And I also predicted on my other CFL show here at thegruelingtruth.net at the beginning of the year, after about 3 or 4 weeks, that Ottawa would run off an 8 to 10 game winning streak towards the end of the season. This is the start of it. It's starting now.
Yeah, I think that's possible too, Robert. What do you think?
You know, and I saw something different. I saw Ottawa struggling in the first half of a game they should have dominated. Let's be frank here. You know, it's Hamilton, and they're not good. They're not good at all.
No.
And this is the kind of game you come into, and you have to show dominance. As I said before, or you talked about last week, this is the halfway point. You got to start separating yourself from the top of the pack to the bottom of the pack. And Ottawa just in that first half they didn't do it to me. I mean, mentally, and it's not going to show, in the score of the game, but mentally, that's a game where they're like, why couldn't we blow this team out in the first half? We're a much better team than this, and they stuck with us. So now the simple fact that the team stuck with them in the first half is going to be in their heads the next game when they start the next half. Because if they get down in a game like that against, the likes of a Winnipeg, or an Edmonton, or Calgary, they're not going to be able to come from behind, come back and win the game by as much.
Yeah, but
as
also remember this, Robert. Hamilton only lost by 3 points to Edmonton and had the ball for a chance to win in Edmonton a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but it's still Hamilton.
I know.
Right.
I was just trying to make the show more interesting.
I think they're just not a good measuring stick for anybody. It doesn't matter.
Well, here's the question. I'll give it to all three of you, and I'll go with Brian first since he hadn't got to chime in on them yet. I wrote in the power rankings, I thought they could go 0-18. Oz called me immediately and called me an idiot. What do you think, Brian? Any chance they could go perfect?
Their chances of going 0-18, while I don't think they will go 0-18, certainly the percentages get higher every time I see them play. They're just not a good football team. It's
because the question is, who the hell can play bad enough to lose to them?
Well, the thing is it's almost like watching a bunch of individuals that just came out to a football field and decided there doesn't seem to be any team chemistry when you watch them. And going back to Ottawa real quick, I really was hoping that this game would be that igniter, that what would kind of bring them to, as Oz, has been predicting, they're going to go on a run, and they may still go on that run. But even in the watching this game, they just didn't seem like a team that's really ready to go on a run.
They look flat.
Especially an 8 to 10 game run. I could see maybe a 4-game run, and let's face it, a 4-game run might put them in first place.
Look, they got a lot of games against the East. They started the season with a lot of games against the West. They don't have to beat Winnipeg. They have to beat Montreal. They have to beat Toronto. It doesn't matter if they beat Winnipeg. They only need to win like 7 games this season. That's it.
All right, so Robert, what's your take on Hamilton? How many games do you think they win?
I think they luck up and get at least one game. It's I won't say it's impossible to go 0-18, but I mean it's just very.
It's damn near impossible, but.
It is, but I mean,
the Detroit Lions proved it's not completely impossible, but they only played 16 games.
Yes, how do you win one game?
I looked it up. Not since the 30s has anybody gone winless in Canadian football. That's before the CFL.
Wow.
And
so what you're telling me is it has been done.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay.
I don't think it was.
But wasn't there a team that went 1-17 in the early 2000s?
I'm not sure. I thought the fairest measuring stick I could find was the Shreveport Pirates. They went 3-15.
Yes, when the States had teams, I know some of those teams were pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
Shreveport was one of them.
Right, and they went 3-15 one year, and they got outscored by something like 300 points over the season. That's probably your measuring stick right there. Could the Tiger Cats beat, quote unquote, 3-15? Yeah, probably.
All right, that brings us to the next game. We had a big rivalry out west. We had the Calgary Stampeders 21, the BC Lions 17. Great defensive battle. Great game, really, if you like defensive football. My question is this, Brian. You ever see Bo Levi Mitchell look that bad?
Yeah, he didn't look that good, and credit BC's defense to an extent, but this kind of ties in with Winnipeg a little bit. Is the shine on the rose of Calgary? Is it starting to fade a little bit? I don't know that it is, but man, at this point, they don't look like the same team that they were last year and into the season. They're still very good, still the best team in the CFL, but I don't know that they're as invincible right now as we've seen them at this time in years past.
Yeah, but Robert, a team that can win a game like that on the road against a quality opponent while maybe their quarterback plays one of the worst games he's ever played, that has to say a lot for how good Calgary is, though.
You know, everyone knows Calgary is a very good team, you know, and from psychologically, because I can tell you that as a former player myself in the CFL, it's just games like this. You went on the road and to beat a tough, you know, interconference opponent in BC. It's big for Calgary, but the thing is, though, Calgary's not the top dog anymore. You know, that's Winnipeg. You know, and that's in the back of their minds right now.
Wow.
You know, and what they can't do is they can't skip ahead in games in their mind for the matchup against Winnipeg. You know, or just as you said before, the measuring stick. Right now, it just seems to me that Winnipeg is the measuring stick. You know, and the Calgary players understand that and know that when you approach a game, you have to think about the game in hand and win that game out. Levi Mitchell did not play well at all. You know, and psychologically that gets you, you know. And I used to sit there and sometimes say to myself, it's like, okay, you know, all right, we're a Toronto team, we're the dominant team here, but why are we struggling? Why are we losing? We'd always like look over our shoulders because, you know, even out west, we knew it was us and Calgary, us and Calgary, us and Calgary. But we wanted to be that team going to the playoffs that had all the momentum. But we had to set the tone for that. Calgary's better step up and do that because Winnipeg is doing it right now.
Yeah, and it goes to BC, Oz. I mean, if you look at Jonathan Jennings, 26 for 38, 240, looks like good stats, till you get to the 2 interceptions again, which
there you
seems
go.
like him and Lule always have the interceptions. I think combined they're like 12 touchdowns, 16 picks this year. Wally Buono considered one of the best coaches in CFL history, but the play calling offensively and the defensive play calling, I think leaves a lot to be desired with this team, Oz.
Yep. It's like they're gambling all over the place all of a sudden. I have no idea what's going on. I mean, you can look at 2 plays. 2 plays sum up the way the BC Lions have been this season. Here it is. Actually, let's go 3. They pick off the pass from Bo Livy. They got decent field position. They got about 40 seconds left. What do? Pass, almost get it picked off. Pass on the run. Here comes the gunslinger, interception. Okay, and they go into the half down 9-8 instead of being up an easy 11-9. You know, that just sums it up. Why are you going pass there? How about run field goal? How about that? How about take the points in the lead? Doesn't happen. How about stand still in the pocket and throw the pass instead of throwing it in the air, you know, and throwing the pick? How about that? That's what the Lions have been like this season. And what is going to get them is to about 7-11. And maybe they'll cross over.
All right, that brings us to the last game of the week. That would be Oz's Montreal Alouettes, who somehow lost to Toronto 38-6 and blown Toronto out. But the reason that happened, Robert, had to be Ricky Ray threw for 377 yards. I think 4 touchdown passes in the win. Toronto's 4-5 in first place now. Robert, definitely a completely different team when Ricky Ray's behind center.
I've said it once, I've said it a million times. Ricky Ray is the reason Toronto will be successful or they will fail. He will take that team as far as they need to, you know, as far as they want to go. I'll put it that way. They're a much different team when he's playing, you know, and they proved it. I mean, you know what? My hat's off to Ricky Ray, you know, setting the touchdown mark in Toronto, you know, with the likes of Damon Allen playing there and Doug Flutie playing there. It's just great for what he's been through in his career to see him doing so well and see his team on top of the East right now.
All right, Oz, Montreal. Darian Durant, 14 for 27, no touchdowns. They barely threw for over 100 yards in this game. Their total offense was like 150 yards. Yeah. I mean, the one week they're playing great, the next week bad. I know Ricky Ray was there this week, not the week before. But you'd think after getting into first place that you'd have a little bit more fight to you. And this team seemed to pretty much chuck this game away after that fumble on the kickoff return.
Wow. Well, I mean, the other thing was this, too. They drove all the way down on their first proper drive from scrimmage. They got all the way to the goal line, pick at the goal line. And, I mean, you think about that, right? As soon as this happens, totally the offense is completely deflated from that point. I mean, they got 80-some-odd yards on that drive, so that's most of their 157 total offense or whatever the hell it was. I mean, it was pretty embarrassing. And, by the time our rookie, returns the pick six, it's long over. I also wanted to point out my former favorite player. I mean, I thought the best Alouette on the field yesterday or during this game was S.J. Green. I mean, Ray is awesome, but Ray to Green, that's been unstoppable this year.
Yeah, 9 catches, 145 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, you just can't touch that. He's throwing everything up there, and S.J. is catching it. What a great tandem in Toronto.
All right, so Brian, who wins this division?
I'm still, as bad as I'm talking about them, I'm still gonna say Ottawa. But Toronto with Ricky Ray is a different team. You put Ricky Ray in the occasion and obviously the coaching staff and everything they've got going, that gives them opportunity. So to me, it's Ottawa and Toronto is the two that I'm gonna go with, and I'll say Ottawa.
All right, let's go ahead and pick the games for this week. We'll start off with Oz's Alouettes hosting the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and what becomes a big game for Montreal. They want to keep pace as they've fallen behind Toronto. Toronto, as we'll talk later, is going to go to Calgary, so this is a chance for Montreal to get right back into first. Is there any chance they can beat the red-hot Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Oz?
Well, something freaky is going on here because I'm looking at the sports book here, and the point spread on this game is 1. Winnipeg is a one point. Yeah, 1 point favorite.
I'm about to tell my friend about that so he can go bet this game as soon as we get off the air before that point spread goes up.
When I tell you about the Calgary-Toronto line, when I tell your friend about the Calgary-Toronto line, yeah, you probably want to switch to this game. But I don't think so. Winnipeg is the much better team. Winnipeg is red hot. I mean, can anybody stop them? I'll take Winnipeg minus the point at Montreal. Sure.
All right, Robert?
Winnipeg is the hottest team in football, as I said earlier. They're fun to watch, and psychologically, the confidence when you're playing football is huge. People don't understand that, and they'd have it right now. They really do.
All right, Brian.
Winnipeg, they're the hot team. I like where they're going. I like what they're building, and I think that's a team that's going to go far.
Yeah, I agree. I think Winnipeg wins this game. Brings us to the next game. Brian, Saskatchewan at Edmonton.
Oh, boy. Edmonton is going to rebound this week, and I think they'll win this game. I don't think it'll be a blowout, but I do think they will win this game.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a close game. I think Saskatchewan's got a ton of offensive weapons. They got a little bit of confidence now, and if they get a win here, I mean, they're right back in the playoff hunt, but I'm going to go with Edmonton and Mike Riley. Robert?
The wheels are not falling off of Edmonton right now. I just think they get right back on it and they win this game. They're not going to lose 2 games in a row. They know they're a good team. They knew at some point, as I keep saying before, and it's going to come back to fruition. And when I talk about the psychological game of football, right now they just that going undefeated is a monkey on your back. They have that monkey off their back now. Now they can just go out there, just play, relax, and do what they did the first half of the season. Go out there and play good football and win games. I think they're going to do that, win this game.
All right, Oz.
No, I'm gonna gamble. I'm gonna take Saskatchewan. I definitely like Saskatchewan 6.5-point underdogs in this game. I've felt that Edmonton's been a bit living on borrowed time for a while. Yeah, they got the best quarterback in the game, but they have 0 running game. And Riley has thrown, I believe it's 5 interceptions now in the last 3 games. This is coming from a guy that goes 5-6 games in a row without throwing any interceptions. He's just chucking it constantly. And I think, Saskatchewan could be ready for that, and I think they can keep pace. I think Saskatchewan is learning how to score points. So, Yeah, all right, I'll take the upset. I'll watch you guys go 3-1, and I'll go 4-0.
All right. Jeez. I'll tell you what, have you ever went 4-0? All right, I know you have, that one time in 2 years. That brings us to the BC Lions at the Ottawa Red Blacks. I'll start this one off. I'm going to take Ottawa in the upset. I just don't like the way BC's calling the game offensively or defensively. And I'll tell you this, if they get this win, I could see a fairly long winning streak coming. I think this is a toss-up game. But I'm going to trust Trevor Harris at home more than I'm going to trust Jonathan Jennings or Travis Lulay on the road. I'm going to go with the Red Blacks. What do you think, Robert?
Ooh, this is a tough one. This is, like we said last week, almost a must-win situation for both teams. Just especially Ottawa. I mean, Ottawa has to get back to a point of believing that they're as good as they were last year, and they're not doing that. But I'm going to go with Ottawa. I just think BC, is just doing too many things wrong right now.
Yeah, I think they're missing something. There's something wrong with that team somewhere.
I don't get it. I mean, I can say the same thing about Ottawa also, but I just think BC is way more in turmoil than Ottawa. Jonathan Jennings.
Yeah, the thing that scares me about BC is no matter how well they play, they got 2 quarterbacks that have combined to throw 14, 15, 16 interceptions this year.
They give it up. They don't manage the ball well. That's not good.
Yeah. All right, Oz.
Well, Ottawa is a 2-point favorite in this game, so certainly that's no upset. Yeah, it's got to be Ottawa, right? Look, BC to me looks like a sub-500 team. Just by the numbers, that means they're going to lose quite a few games here to balance things out because they started, 5-0, 5-1, something like that. They're going to lose a few games in a row here. This, in my opinion, looks like one of the coldest teams in the CFL. I'll definitely take Ottawa in this game.
All right, that brings us to the next game, the Toronto Argonauts at the Calgary Stampeders. Oz, I'll let you start off so you can tell the point spread.
The point spread on this game, Calgary by 10. 10 points. So obviously the book is really expecting Calgary to bounce back from quite the subpar performance. I mean, nobody really had an outstanding game at all on the offensive side for Calgary. So obviously really expecting them to bounce back. They've got an over-under of 55, so that would mean like a 20, what would that be, about a 32 to 23 game, something like that? Yeah. I don't know. I think it'll be closer than that, but I think Calgary will win. I'm not as down on Calgary as Robert is. I still think Calgary is the class of the CFL. Look, they may not be as dominant as they have been in the past 2-3 years, but I still think, I mean, look, at this time last year, we were talking about 2 teams head and shoulders above everybody else, Calgary and the BC Lions, right? The year before that, it was Calgary and the Edmonton Eskimos. They're still there. They may not be as awesome as they were last year, but they're still in that top echelon of 2 teams in the CFL. So, yeah, Calgary's going to keep winning for a while yet. They're going to win this week.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Calgary. I definitely. I mean, again, even if they're not playing as well, they're still the best team in the CFL. And also, to go back to the other game, since I didn't get to pick it, put Ottawa down for me too.
Oh, you did?
No.
I don't know, because sometimes Oz gives these long-ass winded, and I forget. I couldn't remember if I even asked you about Toronto and Calgary, but it's the Oz effect.
You blame it on me, Mike, but you're just afraid of Brian because he picks a
Well, no, your
team.
answer was so freaking long before that I just kind of dozed off and woke back up and had to remember who'd done what.
Yeah, that's what she said. It's not long, Mike. It's
what does that mean? That's what she said. I don't even remember what I said. So,
in any case, they're not long answers, Mike. They're thorough answers.
Oh, is that what she said?
Yes.
Okay.
When she was complimenting me on my awesome CFL picks.
Okay. Who is this person we're talking about that's mythical?
Yeah, it's my made-up friend, my make-believe friend. Yeah.
Okay. Does she look anything like your hand?
Okay, we're going to pass on this subject now. We're going to move on.
Wow.
All right. So, Brian,
Exactly.
did you get
Wow.
to pick Toronto-Calgary yet?
Yes, Calgary.
Okay, and you got Ottawa also.
Yeah.
All right. Now, since Oz has thrown me off again, is that everybody's picked everything, right?
Nope, I didn't pick that.
No,
Calgary.
Robert, yes. Okay.
You know, I think Calgary is the dominant team out of these two teams, but I just think with Ricky Ray being rejuvenated after getting injured and just coming back, I just think Toronto in an upset. I know it's on the road and every intangible is against them, but I just feel that somehow Toronto finds a way to go in there and in a tough game, win a close one.
I think they got a shot. I think 10 points is way too many points to lay here.
Yes, that's way too many. Yeah.
That's a lot.
I mean, because Ricky Ray is going to score some points.
Yes, he is.
So, I mean, I would give Toronto a shot. I'm going with Calgary to win the game just because they're Calgary, and they always seem to figure out a way to win the damn thing anyways. So, I'm going to go Calgary, agree with the other three. Robert's got Toronto there, and we'll see what happens because my luck's not been too good the last 2 weeks. So, I think I've been 2-2 every week. But, all right, any closing words, Brian?
No, just looking forward to watching some games this weekend. So I'm going to definitely enjoy some football.
All right. Robert?
I'm just going to sit back and enjoy some football. You know, the CFL actually has a chance to gain a lot of momentum with people from the States watching the game. What's always going on in the NFL or not. So they should take much advantage of it. You know, I watched the Toronto game on television here at a sports bar, and everyone seemed to love it, you know, so they have a chance to have a great opportunity to get a lot of people interested in their brand of football. They
the
market
CFL doesn't have
it.
as much bullshit going on as the NFL
No,
does.
they do not. No, they do not.
So, which always makes it good. Oz? Speaking of bullshit.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, Robert speaks the truth. It's a faster game. It's football, but it's faster. I just wanted to say that, hey, as good as this is right now, in 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to be watching 3 different kinds of football. And we're going to be podcasting about it here at thegruelingtruth.net. Right, Mike?
Yes, we are.
That was such a setup. That was such a feed. You didn't.
Well, I'm excited
layup
about the college season. I mean, the NFL season, it seems like every year just gets less and less important to me. But since people are going to give us some money to actually talk about it, I'm excited. So
Exactly.
But yeah, we got the college football pick'em show, which will start this Sunday night. Me, Brian, Oz, Bill Searcy, former Alabama offensive lineman. Our NFL preseason preview special will have me, Brian, Matt, Oz, and former San Francisco 49er offensive lineman Randy Cross. So make sure you check that out also. Want to remind everybody to go download our app off of iTunes. Check out all of our shows on iHeart, iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, Google Music. Anytime you find or anywhere you find sports podcast, you'll find The Grueling Truth. So for Brian Schmidt, Oz Davis, Robert Drummond, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.